How y'all doing, my people? I love you. This poem is a response to something I heard on my way out of Perkins the other week. Why do these Asians even think they have the right to be angry? It's not like they ever really had to fight for anything. 2 days before I turned 12, my brother comes home from St. John's Juvenile Correction Center with a suitcase full of dog-eared presents and a messianic scar daggering down the back of his shaven head, 4 inches taller that feel like 2 feet. My brother, street paladin crowned in cigarette smoke and reckless courage, effortless reminder of the Shaolin in all of my blood, this warrior monk ordained in Jackson Heights temples, encaged in steel, with vows of selective silence. He won't tell me how or why the universe tore another exclamation point across his skin, but says the only real questions to answers like that are in books like these. And though years later, I realize he saved my life then, that moment all I can feel is fury as he forces me to struggle through mispronouncing word after word. I'm gonna burn every one of those beat up paperbacks, their questionable stains and questionable origins, all the small print multi-syllabic voodoo my ESL teacher said I'd never be able to read. And so, 10 pages and 1 hour into the first selection, I yell, hurling the book against the wall, to hell with Lord of the Rings. I don't care about no elves. What am I gonna learn from this? Though my brother only chuckles at such prepubescent anti-intellectualism, he tells me, forget the dragons and wizards for a second. Forget the world. Because in this world, the people in charge, those that run things, the judge who released with a fine and a lollipop, the white boy that struck me but gave a year of my childhood to juvie because I dared strike him back with every word. The fire grows in my brother's rumbling voice. The teachers who put you in special ed but talking back to them. The principal who believed them when they say you can't speak English. The lunch monitors who laugh as bullies yell ching chong and beat you to the ground. My mother screams. The bureaucrat who canceled our insurance when mom was diagnosed. The immigration agents who took dad's papers then arrested him for not having papers. To them, we are the orcs. And they would slaughter us with blades and arrows if they could. My brother picks up the book and puts it back in my hands. But instead, they've enslaved us, corrupted our minds and the very images we have of ourselves. And you know what you must do to break the chains. You know, my little brother, that I have to die to make sure you can have a future, then I'm a dead man walking. As the tears stream down both our faces, we hug like men. And I know that moment that I will never fall asleep again without my fingers curled around a book. From that day on, I knew that the Flushing Public Library would become my preferred residence, that I would no longer find my native language strange and unwelcoming, that I might even tell my own story someday. That with my brother's brilliance, with the help of this postmodern griot quoting French Fanon and Son Goku in the same breath, that perhaps maybe even this remedial class child of undocumented laborers might have a shot at college. I wish I could tell you that he was there when the acceptance letters started arriving. And in a better universe, this poem would be nothing but imagery of a plucky child and his loving family dancing in a river of scholarships with lofty titles and promises of mammoth financial aid packages. In a better universe, this poem would end right here with an anecdote about shoplifted rice wine or an inside joke or a reference to a kung fu movie where 2 months saved the world. The cameras would zoom in on his face there in the second or third row, and after the show, I'd pretend to be surprised when all my friends love him. My brother disappeared in a cloud of lead before I even graduated high school, and returned as a swaying pillar of exit wounds, shot 4 times by an NYPD patrolman who in the darkness claimed my brother's hands clutched apocalyptic weaponry. Through all the coroner had for us was a blood-stained wad and his copy of the Lotus Sutra. So I ask you, Chad Trustman, who are you to label my victories meaningless? My loss is trivial. You would see my yellow skin and obsidian hair as justification enough for erasure. You have deemed my history shallow, my people's weak and cowardly. How can you even say we haven't struggled? You who would mock our secrets to the Far East, you can leave this place and forget all of this like waking up from a bad dream. My brother died that night. On the street he grew up. The hollow point bullets shattered his spine and desecrated his internal organs like an unholy ritual. They pronounced him dead at the scene, but my mother and I got there before the ambulances came, and as the men who killed him stood meters away, laughing and joking about their plans for the overtime pay, a crowd gathered around a hijab-clad neighbor who had held my brother's head in her lap, singing Somali lullabies like Yuri cradling Malcolm. He said nothing in those last moments, but in his brown eyes I saw everything I'll ever need to see. In his brown eyes I saw brothers being lynched with their own cues. I saw sisters being sold in massage parlors, slavery. I saw Rock Springs in Los Angeles, 1873 and 1992. I saw businesses in flames and families dragged from homes. I saw wartime loyalties questioned in racing tracks and football stadiums full of makeshift tents. In his brown eyes I saw great ashen leviathans rise from the ruins of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I saw the rape of my lie. I saw walls of skulls and Buddhist rituals where old women scream endless and Khmer. In his brown eyes I saw the ghosts of Fawn Lee and Oscar Grant and Quancha Gouw and Trayvon Martin and Ayanna Jones and Katherine Johnston and Amadou Diallo and Danny Chen with 2 bullets in the back of his own head. In his brown eyes, I saw my mother motionless in bed for months after. I saw my father who would begin drowning his soul one handle at a time. I saw every one of us punished with our lives for resisting wars declared on us. And even now, still see those brown eyes sometimes. In clouded window fronts and straight puddles. So ask me why I'm angry.